Good day to all you beautiful ponies. I'm Sweet Tooth and welcome back to another edition of Honest Reviews.
Yay!
This week's episode is Pinkie Pride, and if you've been following along what's coming up in this season, then you know that this one is going to be the big one. You know why? Because of 3 words. Weird Al Yankovic. They got one of those names for this little show, and you know what? It's gonna be awesome, isn't it? It's gonna have all the great songs and all this animation to go with it. It's gonna be fantastic, right? Well, I can safely say that for other people, but for my tastes, I'm not gonna say it's bad, okay? I'm just gonna say it's not as awesome as we made it out to be before the episode aired. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's start off with the story. Obviously, you would know it by now, but I'll do my best to explain anyway. Pinkie Pie is putting up a party for Rainbow Dash because it's her birthday, something like that. It's her birthday as well as her anniversary of coming to Ponyville, I guess. Wouldn't that be an interesting story, right? But then all of a sudden, this newcomer called Cheese Sandwich, voiced by the Weird Al man himself, coming in and proclaiming that he's the super duper party poop, whatever they have here. It's all done for laughs, this episode, really, which I have nothing against. If anything, it really does take advantage of it, especially of Mr. Yankovic. Speaking role, singing role, as you would expect. He does that all phenomenally well. I'm not a fan of his, I don't really listen to his music, but you know what? He does a really good job just being all serious like I'm Batman. But when it comes to singing, then I'm gonna do a little party for a little Rainbow Dash. All that jazz. So, yeah, like I said, the animation in the episode as a whole is fine, but when you have to go over these songs, since this is a musical episode, it does really well. I'm not going to give away what songs there are in general, but let's just say it gets away with, you know, how Pinkie Pie loves doing what she does, how Cheese Sandwich does liking what he does, if that makes sense. You have 1 or 2 emotional songs in there, and then you have the Goof-Off, which I didn't think would be an official term, but you know what? Freaking Friendship is Magic did it. It invented freaking Goof-Offs, which I'll admit, I can think of a few people who would do Goof-Offs. They'll call them now since it's on My Little Pony, which, yeah, the rivalry between Pinkie Pie and Cheese Sandwich, I was expecting it to be a little more, not mean-spirited in a sense, but just more they want to get at each other. But I don't know, there's a sense about it that I could sense they're just doing it for kicks. I mean, when doing the Goof-Off, the prize is that whoever wins gets to do the birthday party, and the loser does not. Ah! Holy Christ! Okay, that's a little funny. Oh, speaking of which, there are 1 or 2 instances where the traditional animation is not there. I might have spoiled that on its own, but you know what? That's kind of creative. That's what I like in the terms of this episode. They do these sort of techniques that you would not expect from normal episode, if that makes sense. But it really does make it its own identity, just Pinkie Pie going off a male version of her, if not even more crazier, and it happens to be voiced by Weird Al Yankovic of all people, so you know what? Kudos. Now, I think that 1 or 2 reasons why I don't really love this episode as opposed to just like it, I think it's really because it does explain at the end of the episode, really. I'm just saying to myself, even before the episode's aired, I'm just saying to myself, why don't these 2 team up? You know, there's no point in wasting an episode fighting with each other. They could just team up, give Rainbow Dash the best birthday that she ever had, and well, there you go. I wasn't expecting this when going into the episode. I wasn't expecting for Cheese Sandwich to be the villain here. He's just doing what he does because he loves making people happy for what he does. And you know what? The episode does exactly as I do. They even throw in a freaking backstory for him. That's kind of rare, but you know what? I do feel for him. I really want Cheese Sandwich to come back. Team up with Pinkie Pie again, with whatever, because they really established this character. Now if you give him 1 or 2 episodes to establish on, you know, both the obviously the funny side of things and maybe a little more dramatic, but sort of comical in that sense too, then you've got yourself a really great character there. And from what I've seen so far, he's just fantastic. So, I mean, for this episode alone, the characters are just great. The story is just, there's just 1 or 2 things that really, I just couldn't take not seriously, but just didn't hit me, as I'm sure it would have hit a lot of other people. But it is fun, I will give it that. So, after watching this week's episode of Friendship is Magic and gathering my thoughts on it, I'm gonna give Pinkie Pride sort of a rare 2 rating system. The first rating I'm gonna give is for the people who are expected to enjoy it. I'm gonna give it the rating of, that is so awesome! Because, yeah, it's freaking Weird Al Yankovic doing what he does in Ponyville. Would you ever expect that in this century? No, they did it. Props to them. And there's a lot of fun things in there. Even a few emotional things as well. But mostly fun, because this is a fun episode and I can expect a lot of people enjoying this. Now, for my rating, this is going to sound really selfish on my part, and you guys are probably going to like this, but I'm just going to give it the rating of Friendship Report Accepted. Now, the reason I'm giving it this rating is because while I can respect that people are going to love this and that the episode is not bad at all, it's really, really good, there are just some things that pop up in my head that really just take me out of it. Because even when it's supposed to be fun, there are just some things I'm questioning. I shouldn't question it. It's freaking Pinkie Pie and freaking Weird Al Yankovic. But yeah, like I said, nothing against this episode at all, except for my selfish reasons. But you know what? Just for you guys, I can safely recommend this episode. Watch it and see for yourself, because you know what? Weird Al Yankovic is a yellow stallion named Cheese Sandwich. That pretty much sold it for me, and I do hope he shows up again to give more of his hilarity, with maybe Pinkie Pie included. So that was my honest review of Pinkie Pride. Do comment in to say what you feel on the episode as a whole. I'll be very interested to hear. And yeah, I shall see you guys for next week's episode. Have a good day.